This section of the training will explain how to enter the anticipated enrollment in Schedule 2-1 and 2-2. We will refer to the private school choice program as choice or choice program throughout this training. Information on the applicable law is identified on this slide. This training will explain how to enter information into the budget and cash flow report Excel document. We will refer to the budget and cash flow report as the budget throughout this training. You must enter this information into your Excel document unless otherwise noted. Please pause the training if you need additional time to review the example or check your Excel document. As a reminder, to receive credit for having participated in this training, you will be required to upload the completed budget Excel document in the quiz you complete after all the trainings are done. The budget that is uploaded into the quiz must include all of the examples for holy love that are provided in each of the trainings. Completion of this training is required for all choice administrators of schools that are first-time participants in the choice program. Pupil count reports are used to count students by grade for the purpose of calculating and paying the school's choice state aid. The schools must complete 3 pupil count reports during each school year. The schools enter the information in the online application system known as OAS. The preliminary enrollment report is due by the last weekday of August. The third Friday in September count report is due by the last weekday of September, and the second Friday in January count report is due by the last weekday of January. In the preliminary enrollment report, the school must provide the total number of pupils, referred to as the all pupil count, and the total number of choice pupils enrolled at the school. The choice pupils in this report should include any that have an eligible choice application and who are enrolled at the school at the beginning of the year, unless they have withdrawn from the school or are expected to withdraw from the school by the third Friday in September. In the third Friday in September and second Friday January pupil count reports, the school will identify the grade each choice pupil is in, and if the choice pupil met the count requirements. The school will also be required to identify the total number of all pupils enrolled in K4 through 12th grade educational programming at the school. The attendance requirements are the same for choice pupils and non-choice pupils. The pupils must either be in attendance on the count date or be in attendance any day before and any day after the count date. Please note the requirement that the pupil be there any day before and any day after the count date does not mean that the pupil must be at the school the Thursday before and the Monday after the count date. It is any day before and any day after the count date within the school year. Attendance during summer school would not be sufficient to meet this requirement. The student must not have been enrolled in another school or homeschooled during the period of absence. Choice payments are calculated using a full-time equivalent or FTE. Students in grades 1 through 12 are counted as 1 FTE. 4-year-old kindergarten or K4 students are counted as zero point 0.6 FTE. The FTE for pupils in 5-year-old kindergarten or K5 is dependent on how many full days a week a pupil is attending. Generally, K5 pupils are counted in the zero point 0.5 FTE category. This applies to pupils who are attending less than full time, but at least 437 hours during the school year. K5 pupils who are attending 3 full days of instruction each week are counted as zero point 0.6 FTE. K5 pupils who are attending 4 full days of instruction each week are counted as zero point 0.8 FTE. Finally, K5 pupils who are attending 5 full days of instruction each week are counted in the 1 FTE category. Choice payments are sent to eligible schools 4 times a school year during the months of September, November, February, and May. The September payment is equal to 25% of the annual FTE choice payment amount. Schools receive a September payment for each choice student on the preliminary enrollment report. The November payment is a true-up payment. It is calculated based on the number of choice pupils on the third Friday in September pupil count report, multiplied by 50% of the annual payment, less the payment received in September. The school will also receive a payment in November for any choice student that was eligible for summer school in the preceding summer. The February and May payments are each 25% of the annual FTE amount for each student with an eligible application on the school's January count report. During the school year, the department pays the maximum voucher amount for each student based on the eligible choice students in the preliminary enrollment report and pupil count reports as described on the previous slide. The amount is not a reimbursement of schools' expenses. The budget uses the expected choice and special needs scholarship program payment rates for the budget year. If the payment rates are not yet known, the payment rate is based on the most recent choice program payment rates known at the time that the budget and cash flow report is provided. In order to determine what rates are used in the budget, please refer to the Instructions tab of the budget. The rates are identified in the Revenue section of this tab. The current payment amounts and frequently asked questions on payments are available on our web page. This slide shows Schedule 2-1 of the budget. We will be discussing each part of this slide in the next slides. First, we will discuss all pupil counts. Then we will discuss the choice pupil counts and the choice pupils by program. We will end by discussing the choice summer school counts. The school must complete the all pupil count on Schedule 2-1 by inputting the total number of pupils the school anticipates will enroll in K4 to 12th grade educational programming at the school. These columns correspond to the reports we just talked about. Column B is based on the number of pupils you expect to have enrolled at the school at the end of August. Columns C and D are based on the number of pupils you expect to have on the September and January count dates. The determination of whether a pupil is included in the September and January counts is based on the attendance requirements we discussed earlier. For new choice school budgets, the anticipated preliminary enrollment third Friday in September and second Friday in January counts are generally the same. So the schedule has been set up that columns C and D will automatically include the numbers you enter in column B. However, the cells are yellow. This means that you can modify them if you anticipate having a different pupil count for a count date. The all pupil count should include all students enrolled in your school who are attending K4 through 12th grade, even if that grade is not offered to choice students. If the school provides educational programming for a public school district, do not include these students in the all pupil count. Additionally, the eligible education expenses for students enrolled in a public school district should not be included in your school's eligible education expenses, nor should the revenue from the district be included as offsetting revenue for your school. We will talk more about the eligible education expense requirements and how offsetting revenue is included in your budget in later trainings. If there are 4-year-old or 5-year-old children attending the school must determine if the children are considered enrolled in educational programming or daycare. If the school determines the children are enrolled in daycare, the children should not be included in the all pupil count, and the cost for these children should not be identified as eligible education expenses. However, if K4 or K5 are available grades for choice or SNSP, that grade must be identified as educational programming, and the students in that grade must be included in the all pupil count. Generally, the children in a 4-year-old or 5-year-old program should be included in the K4, K5 all pupil count if the school is providing educational programming for the children. The school is providing the required hours of instruction for the K4, K5 program. The students are age eligible for K4 or K5, and the K4 or K5 grades are pre-accredited or accredited. The K4 or K5 grade must be fully accredited if the rest of the elementary grades are fully accredited or pre-accredited, if the other elementary grades for the school are pre-accredited. In the next section, the number of choice students your school anticipates will attend this school should be entered in column B. Columns C and D will automatically include the numbers you entered in column B, since the preliminary enrollment, the third Friday in September count, and the second Friday in January count are generally the same for budgetary purposes. If the school anticipates the third Friday in September or second Friday in January count will be different than the preliminary enrollment for any grade categories, the school must update that information in columns C or D. The choice program revenue will automatically be calculated in the budget based on the choice pupil counts in this section. In the choice pupils programs section, the school must identify the number of choice pupils that will participate in each choice program. Column E, labeled High Count, will automatically populate with the highest number of anticipated choice pupils that were previously input in Schedule 2-1, lines 10 to 17 for the respective grade categories. This is the number of students the school must break out between the three choice programs in columns B to D, lines 19 to 22. After completing columns B, C, and D, the difference column, column F, should be 0. If it is not, you will have an error on the error report. You must resolve this error before submitting the budget. Let's complete a knowledge check. Which of the following students should be included in the all pupil count? Remember that this is the total number of students who are attending and enrolled in the school. Please pause the presentation and take a few minutes to go through each of the pupil types to determine if you think they should be included in the all pupil count. Once you are ready to proceed, continue the training. The all pupil count must include students in the choice program, tuition paying students, and students on scholarship. Additionally, the school must include all pupils in K4 to 12th grade educational programming in the all pupil count, even if a particular grade is not offered to choice pupils as a result. As a result, the second grade pupils must be included in the all pupil count. The two examples on this screen that are not included in the all pupil count are daycare children and pupils attending K4 that are enrolled in the public school district. Daycare is not considered educational programming, so these children would not be part of the all pupil count. Pupils that are attending the private school but are enrolled in the public school district are considered to be public school students. As a result, they should not be included in the private school's all pupil count. The last section of Schedule 2-1 is related to summer school. If your school will be offering choice summer school, the estimated number of choice pupils that will participate in summer school should be entered in columns B and C of line 24. The summer pupil count included in the budget will always be for the summer prior to the start of the school term for the budgeted school year. It will be identified in the header for the section. As mentioned earlier, the summer school choice revenue will be automatically calculated and included in the budget. Do not include anticipated revenues related to choice summer school elsewhere. This will be discussed in future training sessions. Let's now return to the Holy Love example budget. This slide contains Holy Love's anticipated all pupil and choice pupil counts, broken down by grade category. The first column is the school's all pupil count. The second and third columns identify the number of pupils the school anticipates will participate in MPCP and WPCP respectively. Please note, the pupil counts are the same for the preliminary enrollment report, third Friday in September and second Friday in January. Please use this information to complete the all pupil count section, choice pupil count section, and the choice pupil by program section in Schedule 2-1. Please pause the training, take some time to fill out Schedule 2-1 on your budget. Resume the training when you are ready to proceed. First, we will go through the numbers that should be included in the all pupils anticipated enrollment section, which is in lines 1 to 9 of Schedule 2-1. Line 1 includes the K4 pupils. Column B should include the 13 K4 all pupils in line 1. Line 5 should include the 15 K5 pupils. Next, The 60 pupils in grades 1 to 8 are included on line 6. Finally, include the 20 pupils in grades 9 to 12 in line 8, column B. When you completed column B, columns C and D automatically filled in with the same numbers. Since the pupil counts for our example are the same for the preliminary enrollment report, third Friday in September count, and second Friday in January count, we don't need to make any changes to the pre-filled amounts in columns C and D. In the next section, you should have entered the anticipated enrollment for all choice programs on each line. This will require you to add together the MPCP and WPCP columns, which are shown on the left, and enter them on the respective line. For example, since Holy Love anticipates there will be 5 K4 students participating in MPCP and 2 K4 students participating in WPCP, you should have entered 7 in column B of line 10. Similarly, on line 14, you should have entered 9, line 15 should have 23, and line 17 should have 9 pupils. Next, we will complete the choice pupils by program section on lines 19 through 22 of Schedule 2-1. To the left of the screen, we again have the table that identifies the MPCP and WPCP pupil count for each grade category. In column E of lines 19 through 22, Schedule 2-1 identifies the high pupil count for each grade category. For example, the 4-year-old kindergarten, line 19, identifies 7 because this is the highest all pupil count on line 10, column F. The difference column shows a difference of 7 and is red because no amounts have been input into columns B through D. On line 19, we will separate out the 7 K4 choice pupils based on which choice program we anticipate the students will participate in. On line 19, column B, we inserted 5 for the MPCP and 2 in column C for the WPCP. Lines 20 through 22 are completed in a similar fashion. Once the number of pupils participating in each program for each grade category has been input, the difference column must be 0 and no longer be red. If any of the differences are still red, you would receive an error message on the error report and be required to resolve the error before submission of the budget. Please pause the training to review lines 10 through 23 and compare it to your budget that you have completed to ensure your budget is correct. Once you are ready, continue the training. Schools that are currently participating in the Special Needs Scholarship Program or SNSP must complete Schedule 2-2. SNSP students may only be included in Schedule 2-2 if the school is a current participant in SNSP or if the school has already completed the intent to participate in SNSP for the school year the budget is for. Once Schedule 2-1 and 2-2 are completed, review the Error Report tab. We have already discussed several of these errors during the training. Error 4 will be identified if the choice and SNSP pupil count combined is more than the all pupil count. Error 5 will be identified if the all pupil count is not completed in the preliminary third Friday in September or second Friday in January column. Similarly, error 6 or error 8 will be identified if the choice or SNSP pupil count columns are not each completed. If the school is participating in the respective program based on the cover page. Earlier, we went through error 7, which will be identified if choice pupils by program does not equal the total choice pupil count in Schedule 2-1. On your school's own budget, any errors must be corrected before the budget is submitted to DPI. If you have any problems correcting these errors, please reach out to DPI for assistance. The department has bulletins available to help schools understand programmatic requirements. The financial audit and PSCP and SNSP reserve balance bulletins describe the financial audit and how the reserve balance schedule works. The PSCP eligible education expenses bulletin describes what expenses can be eligible for the choice program. There are also various bulletins available on the fiscal and internal control practices requirements and other program requirements. Additionally, the department has on-demand trainings available to help schools understand programmatic requirements. Schools are encouraged to review these bulletins and trainings throughout the year when there are questions on the choice requirements. Questions on this training, including questions on the budget and cash flow report, should be directed to DPI Choice Audit Reports at dpi.wi.gov rather than a specific auditor. This mailbox is monitored by all choice program auditors. If you have general choice program questions, they should be directed to the choice program consultant at private school choice at dpi.wi.gov.